This is Defiance Daily, dispatches for the Defiant. I am your host, Miles Taylor, and it is Wednesday, which means it is our weekly mission brief. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because every single week, Defiance.org, if you're not familiar with us, does a special Defiance Daily episode on Wednesdays. These are the days that we announce real action we are taking and that you can take to counter Donald Trump's abuses of power, whether it's supporting constitutional lawsuits against this administration, supporting protesters on the front lines in Minneapolis, protecting reporters who are arrested lawlessly by this administration, and on and on. We announce real things every Wednesday that we are doing to fight back. And today is no different. This week, our mission is all about exercising our First Amendment rights. A right, by the way, that is constantly being attacked by the Trump regime, and a right that we will powerfully show is still very much intact. But today, we start with the Defiance win of the week, which says a lot about where things are headed, made all the sweeter with a touch of irony. NBC has the report.
Celebrating their victory in a Florida special election last night, flipping a state House district from red to blue. And get this, what's more, the district is home to President Trump's Mar-a-Lago club.
Yeah, that race did come down to the wire. NBC News projects Democrat Emily Gregory won 51% of the vote, while Trump-endorsed Republican John Maples won 49%. NBC News senior national political reporter Sahil Kapoor joins us now. Sahil, good to see you. So this is a district that was supposed to be a real Trump stronghold. How surprising are these results?
It's surprising in the sense that Donald Trump won this district by 11 points in 2024. It's not surprising in the sense that Democrats have been consistently overperforming in special elections ever since he took office. And this is very much consistent with that. Now, the fact that this happened in Trump's backyard carries a little extra special significance for Democrats. And look, Republicans should be worried because it does bode ill for them. They cannot be losing seats like this if they want any shot at holding the House in the midterms. And if these trends continue, even the Senate could potentially be in play for Democrats.
I will say this. Donald Trump is a citizen like any other in this country. And now he is represented by a Democrat. Not lost on me, not lost on you. And I can tell you that is certainly not lost on Donald Trump, who will see this race as a harbinger of what's to come later this year. Now, we don't normally do this, but we actually have one more win of the week for a very special reason. 2 days ago, we shared a story that brought many people to tears. A 9-year-old boy, Deaver, was being held at the Dilley Detention Center in Texas with ICE. And Miss Rachel, the famous children's entertainer, had an interview with Deaver, who expressed that he just wanted to get out of detention to be able to get home in time for the spelling bee. Well, folks, I wanted to give you an update on that because Deaver has been released from ICE custody. Not only released, but released in time for the spelling bee. That is a great news story of the week. I'm going to take us into our conversation with our panel. Like I said, the mission this week at defiance.org is proudly exercising our First Amendment rights, and we could not have a better all-star panel to discuss that today. Joining us is co-chair of the Committee for the First, Rashad Robinson. Rashad is a longtime civil rights leader, strategist, and author of the upcoming book, From Presence to Power, How to Take on the Fights That Matter and Win, out this July. Rashad, welcome to Defiance Daily. Great to have you, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Miles.
We also have joining us Indivisible founder Leah Greenberg, who is co-founder and co-executive director of the Indivisible Project, a former Capitol Hill staffer and State Department advisor, a Time 100 honoree, and co-author of We Are Indivisible, a blueprint for democracy after Trump. Welcome to the program, my friend. Great to have you.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
And we're going to also add into the chat my Defiance.org co-founder, Xander Schultz. Look, Leah, I want to start with you. This is a very big week. We're going to be talking a lot about this today, but you guys have an event on Saturday. Maybe tell us about the event. We were thrilled to have your partner with us the other month to announce this very special date, March 28th. What's happening? Is this a birthday party? Is this a cocktail hour?
Well, It is whatever you make it. But what I would say, what we have got is over 300 national organizations and thousands of local coalitions, event hosts, organizers coming together collectively for the single largest and widest spread protest in American history, with over 3,200 events around the country, declaring no kings and taking a stand against authoritarian governance at home and abroad, against the threats that this administration poses to us and our neighbors, our families in the world, and collectively showing up for ourselves and for each other.
Leah, I have to say, you don't get to make a comment like that all the time, such as we're about to put on the biggest protest basically in American history. I'm sure everyone watching right now knows, but no King's Day. This is the third one this Saturday. While we're getting started here, where should people be going online right now to make sure they're finding the nearest protest? I want them listening to us talk and making sure they know where they're going and they're signed up and they're going to be there. Where can they go?
Absolutely. So go to nokings.org and you will see the map. You will be able to find your nearest protest. You are not more than 30 minutes away from a No Kings protest, no matter where you are in the country. So you should be able to find it.
Rock and roll. Xander, I'm going to throw it to you.
Yeah, well, Rashad, I met you, maybe close to a decade ago now when you were running Color of Change. You've got a new effort, the Committee for the First Amendment, which has an awesome origin story and an awesome relaunch story. Can you give us the update on what's going on with the Committee for the First Amendment?
Actually, yeah. I mean, we're 75 years ago, the many of the artists and creatives that have been celebrated over time were hauled before the House Committee on Un-American Activities. And the HUACT sort of hearings are very famous. Folks like Paul Robeson and others had to testify. In this moment where we are seeing authoritarian takeover of so many of the sort of aspects of our society, more than ever, we need folks to not comply, to push back. And what Leah's talking about through No Kings is sort of one expression of that. But the Hollywood committee, the Hollywood community needs to be organized. And Jane Fonda, whose father, Henry Fonda, was part of the first committee for the First Amendment back during the McCarthy era, Jane launched this new effort, to relaunch this committee. Over 300 artists, creatives, writers, directors, producers, makeup artists, lighting folks all throughout Hollywood have come together to use their power, their collective voice, to both hold their industry and push their industry to account, but also to raise their voice and welcome more people into this fight. And so the day before No Kings, so this Friday, we are going to be hosting an event to really focus on the attacks on the arts, the attacks on creativity. And we're going to be doing it in front of the Kennedy Center. And then we are going to continue to sort of mobilize that energy in that effort, where many of these artists will be showing up to No Kings rallies around the country. Jane will be in Minneapolis, and others will be sort of at rallies and events throughout the country. But this is part of the ongoing effort to raise the voices of folks who can reach a lot of people, to call in our creative community, but to also stand up for our artists and our creatives who are under attack in very deep ways. It's not just the sort of A-list artists that you hear about. It's also the folks who have made brave stands and said, no, I won't perform at the Kennedy Center if Trump's name is on it. And their brave steps means that they may not have the money to do the things that taking care of their families and others. And so these artists are taking brave steps, but this committee in this moment recognizes the sort of urgency of ensuring that every aspect of our society, every pillar of our society is doing everything we possibly can to say, not on our watch, not in our name.
Leah, it feels like such a powerful moment to be doing this, honestly, that the First Amendment has suffered its most brutal beating in decades, or even in the modern era altogether, over the course of the past year. I mean, I'm just one tiny person in this 350 million person republic. I've experienced it. The president said I was guilty of treason for speaking out against him. Just this week, you see how it's influencing his followers. I was on CNN with a guy named Scott Jennings who didn't like the argument I made, and he went on social media and he said the Attorney General and the Justice Department should look into me. What? That's what's happening now in this country? Is if the other side doesn't like what you're saying, they refer you to the Justice Department? What kind of world are we living in? But you guys are proposing that the way to fight back against these assaults on the First Amendment is to go exercise our First Amendment rights. How important is No Kings 3? I mean, how do you think about it in the arc? If this is a trilogy of No Kings protests, I'm sure it'll be longer than that. If this is a trilogy, what's the third movie all about?
Well, right now we are every No Kings is a reaction both to the overall levels of threat that is posed by a would-be authoritarian, and to the point that you're making. A lot of what we're seeing right now, a lot of the original rationale for No Kings was a reaction to the chilling effect of the Trump administration's crackdown on free speech, on alternate sources of power, to the ways in which they were trying to collectively remake American society in their image, and frankly, to the ways in which a lot of American institutions and actors and wealthy people and politicians fell in line. Right? For the first 6 months of the Trump administration, we saw, higher education institutions make deals with the Trump administration. We saw corporations and tech companies rush to, kiss the ring. We saw all of these examples of people across society engaging in what our theoretical friends call anticipatory obedience, preemptively doing the things the administration wanted them to do so that they would not suffer consequences, so that they could advance their own interests. And No Kings was conceived as a massive nationwide rebuttal to that idea, right? It was a demonstration to anyone who was considering going along with this regime that there were millions and millions of us who were going to be pushing back, and that we were out there and you needed to think about us too. That was the original theory of the first one, and it continues to roll as a central theme through each of these. It is a mass demonstration of defiance against a would-be dictator. It's also a statement and a reaction to what they are currently doing. We have a catastrophic illegal war that is endangering us, that is killing thousands abroad, that is driving up costs at home, and that is funded by taking away our healthcare and our money from our healthcare and our schools. We have got secret police who are roaming around the country, who have been occupying Minnesota, who've been dispatched to airports now. Collectively, it is a moment in which we stand up and we say no to violence and authoritarianism at home and no abroad.
We almost called this organization anticipatory obedience. That's what Xander wanted to call it. But I was like, Xander,
I was lobbying for it.
I was like, Xander, you can't give in. I think we should call it defiance. I don't think
I was fighting for
message.
Compliance. It's like compliance.
Yeah.
It has the same.
Yeah. What if we call it compliance? But honestly, joking aside, I mean, Leah, Xander and I say this almost every night in talking to folks and traveling around the country to different audiences. Last year, it felt like the compliance argument, the obedience argument, the shut up and say nothing argument was winning. I mean, even 1 year ago, look, my thing happened to me on April 9th, almost a year ago. Yeah. Everyone was scared shitless. No one in my life wanted to stand up. No one in my life wanted me to stand up. I had, friends who were in my wedding say, they can't sign a petition, to support me to the Trump administration. I mean, just galling stuff because people were so scared. It doesn't feel that way anymore. When I hear people talking about going out to the event that you guys are organizing across the country this weekend, what is set to be a historic event, people are fired up. People are so excited to get out there. The fear is evaporating.
And that's part of the theory of the case, right? That we are collectively gonna, part of the way that we beat back that sense of fear and that sense of isolation is by moving a large number of people out at the same time, getting them into community, helping people see that there are millions of people who think like you do, who are organizing. And then the next step is getting them involved into ongoing forms of local organizing, because we're not just trying to get the biggest number of people out on one specific day. What we want is for as many people as possible who come out to a No Kings event, to put their name down, to sign up to be a volunteer for their local immigrant rights organization, or to join a local Indivisible group, or 5051, or any number of organizations that are part of this.
Or defiance.org.
Exactly, or defiance.org, right? But we want them to be in real life, in relationship, and doing the work on the ground around the country. Because fundamentally, we are not going to get to scale in this country by relying on any of our organizations. We are going to get to scale because people take their power back and organize each other.
Rashad, we just talked about, the role of everyone standing up and showing that you don't need to comply in the face of these threats. What is the role of high-profile artists and actors and celebrities who have often been asked to be a part of these fights? And in this particular fight, they seem well-suited because they're also the people that are attacked, whether you think about like Kimmel and Colbert early on in this in this regime's kind of early reign. And so I want to get your thoughts on how this group that you're organizing can help embolden us to defy.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about what's happening with the consolidation of media, right? We don't have a 24-hour news station on our side or a network of radio stations. And in many ways, we are being sort of outgunned by the algorithms and where the ways in which the tech oligarchs have put their hands on the scale for the right and for Trump. And so celebrities do in many ways help us reach people in really interesting and creating ways. They help us to reach into subcultures of various communities. So it's not just the sort of A-listers, it's the WNBA players, it's the theater artists, it's folks who are in ballet and opera. It's folks who sort of operate across many different fields and aspects and can tap into various fandoms. What we need is more people in every aspect of society speaking out and using their platform. And part of what we are doing through this effort, which in so many ways coincides with the work that Leah is doing through No Kings, is creating also a space for people to see one another, to be in relationship, to feel like that courage can be contagious because they are seeing other people like them taking those bold steps, and more people will take those bold steps together. So part of the sort of theory is about what does it mean to be in relationship and community and help people take bigger and bolder steps along the way, even while they may be facing sort of attacks. But there's also the things that are happening in the industry, the ways in which what Trump is doing, what the right wing is doing, is impacting the industry. So look at these mergers that are happening across the industry, where authoritarians, where people who are aligned with Trump are taking over major media platforms and are being very bold and very clear about what they intend to do with those platforms and the ways in which they will shape news and content and the stories that we get. And so all of this is important, that we are doing the organizing and the engagement, helping people speak out, making sure they have talking points, creating the events and the spaces for people to engage, all while also welcoming everyday people into this fight. And so, we recognize the unique role that artists play, not just in sort of pushing their own industries, but also being sort of the sort of welcoming place for people who haven't yet joined in. I also think that when artists aren't speaking out, they send a message too, that maybe this isn't as big of a deal. Maybe this isn't as important. So we also want to recognize and push artists who may sometimes hear like, who cares what a celebrity thinks? So who cares what an actor thinks? It's not just that we need these folks sort of speaking out. It's that their silence also can send a message.
I want to double click on the media consolidation point you brought up. I think because I'm democracy's Forrest Gump, I woke up today with two texts, one from Mark Ruffalo, who said, we got to do something about the CNN acquisition. And then another one from you where I said, Rashad, what's our actions for the day? And you said, we're going to push back against media consolidation. Going back to kind of the big question our org always asks, what can I do? What can be done about these media acquisitions?
Well, right now, there's a real press on state attorney generals. Really, that's where the fight is. It's very clear that the FCC is going to do whatever Trump wants them to do, but we elect state AGs. We elect them to office. They run on platforms that they're going to stand up. There's many of the biggest states have AGs that that have aligned themselves with our movement, have said that they stand up. And so now this is the time. And now we are seeing many of them speak up and say they're going to sort of stand up against this, whether it's California or New York or Washington State. And in these moments, we need to both celebrate, uplift, and champion these elected officials that are doing this work. We need to push them to do more. And that, I think, is where the fight is going to be. And that's going to be challenging, right? But I think it's a recognition for all of us about the consequences of elections. And as we also head beyond all of this, we need to continue to make sure that those folks that are coming to us for our votes are actually speaking to the wide range of how corporations and how big tech and how Hollywood and how all of these industries impact our world. But for all of the people who are sort of listening, I oftentimes think that, we have collective power. And we will always lose in the back rooms if people are not lined up at the front door. And for everyone who is paying attention, more and more of us need to be lined up at the front door of our elected officials and demanding that this is what we want them to speak up on. This is how we want them to stand up. This is how they will continue to get our support. This is how they will lose our support if they don't stand up. And I think the more that they are hearing from us, the more that they recognize that there will be rewards and consequences for how they engage, we will get more and more elected officials doing the right thing. They work for us. And so we need to treat them that way.
Rashad, I'm so glad you say that, because the organization we're going to bring on in a little bit and talk to here today, who we're going to be teaming up with more often, is doing that every day, is literally helping people line up at the actual door of their representatives and say something and putting the rubber on the road, so to speak. Something occurred to me while the three of our orgs were sitting here, which is, people often, especially on the political right, pour cold water on the influence of celebrities and cultural figures. They say, who cares if Jennifer Aniston says it? Who cares if Ben Stiller says it? I'm going to give you an example of where it can be impactful. All three of us here share Robert De Niro, and I'll explain why. I'm pretty sure Mr. De Niro was the biggest cultural figure that did some huge announcements for No Kings last year in the lead up to those No Kings days. Mr. De Niro is one of the founding signatories among the 2,000 or so celebrities that helped launch the Committee for the First Amendment with Jane Fonda. And by the way, Robert De Niro is the only reason Defiance.org exists. He called me in a cabin one weekend in October and said, basically, get your ass off the couch and go build something in this moment so that all the groups in the country have crowdsourced support. That's just one example of a person in this space, an influencer, helping to actually mobilize people. And I think we're all grateful to him, but I call BS on the folks who say it doesn't matter what those people say. It does matter.
Miles, everything that the right says is also an admission. They elected a celebrity.
That's right.
They
have Kid Rock, Rashad. How come you guys can't get Kid Rock to sign?
Yes, they had a choice during multiple primaries, and they elected a reality show star to be their standard bearer. That's the right wing. They've on multiple occasions in California elected celebrities to be their governors. We shouldn't have to actually respond to that at all. What we do, what I think is really important is whoever our elected officials are, who do they think they report to? Who do they actually serve? Who are they willing, whether they are bold-faced name celebrities or they're everyday people, who do they wake up every day trying to fight for? And I think that all of our organizations are every single day trying to figure out how do we make the world better, safer, more free for the voices of everyday people.
Well, I think on Saturday, they are going to hear loud and clear. Leah, you guys are going to make sure they hear. And I've got to commend you. And we said the same thing to Ezra last time. Y'all have had so much humility about what you've built. But people who are watching right now need to know when they show up on Saturday. I want them to spend, even if they just spend 5 seconds, sending a positive vibe your direction. They should be thanking you guys for mobilizing us and making all of this happen. And I want to ask you, when Saturday is over. When you and Ezra are hopefully sliding into home base to go watch a movie or something or chill out, what is success going to have looked like for No King's Day 3?
Well, first of all, I've got to say both thank you, and also it is simply not the case that anyone can pull off something like this. Any organization can pull off something like this alone, not these days, not at the scale that this is happening. You know, the American Federation of Teachers has been like a powerful partner behind us. Move On, Public Citizen, ACLU, the SEIU, 5051. There have been so many entities that have just thrown in so hard to make this possible. And so I appreciate and also always want to name that this is just an extraordinary, heroic collective effort. I think success is the way that I feel success from these are, one, did we successfully deliver the message on the day of, right? Does every elected official who speaks at one of these leave thinking, to Rashad's point, I got to find more ways to push back. I've got to double down on what I'm doing. There is a massive crowd that I am accountable to that is watching what I do, and I want them to believe that I'm in this fight with them, so I'm going to go harder. That's one piece of this, is do we actually, firm up those backbones? Do we create that sense of community care and support? Do we create that sense of mass defiance? That's one. The other piece of this is, do we actually get those folks into ongoing organizing? Do I hear in the weeks and days and weeks afterwards from people who started new Indivisible groups because they organized the first protest ever in their town and they want to keep it going? Are there people who are showing up who are absorbed into efforts like what we saw in Minnesota, which was a heroic all-of-state resistance network? Are we actually helping to feed that ongoing cycle of absorption, of engagement, of power building in the ground all over the country? That's success to me.
Right on.
Rock and roll. Well, I hope everyone who is watching, and we'll keep saying this through the rest of the program, helps realize that vision on Saturday. I'm sure they will. Sorry, Xander, back over to you.
No, it's all good. That was important to say. I think before we let these guys go, I want to, and this is our question all the time for guests, I want to know what the Defiance community can do. And I have kind of a specific request for both. Leah, I think oftentimes about No Kings and these mass activations, it's like the top of the funnel for democracy participation. And I wonder, as you look at the field, as you're moving so many millions of Americans into the top of the funnel, into civic engagement, what would you like to see organizations like ours? What role is important to play? Are there any gaps in the field that you think are still missing in that activation? I just kind of want to hear what you think of as kind of next steps for individuals who are moving people into it, and what role our organization can play. And then I'll hold my question for Rashad. I'll go to Rashad next.
Well, I would say, first of all, if you're here, then you are an engaged person. And, I am sure that there are a bunch of folks who are making a plan to show up, who have already made a plan to show up, who maybe are part of the organizing themselves in their towns. What I would say is plan to show up. And also, you got 3 days, call 3 people who've not gone to one of these events before and say, I'm gonna go, and I want you to come with me, and it is going to be fun, and here are the things we're going to do. And, actually give them a real invitation into being part of this. And it might feel a little bit intimidating to try to do that hard sell, but the odds are really good that once they go, they're going to be happy that they went, and you're going to have helped to build that movement together. So that's the first ask that I would have. And then I think it's just a continual drumbeat, right? Like, this is not it is about one day, or it is about a big show force on one day, but fundamentally it is about keeping people in the fight over the long term, because organizing under authoritarians or would-be authoritarians is hard. And a lot of times it is depressing, and creating a sense of community, creating a sense of purpose, creating this sense of there are all kinds of on-ramps to get involved is crucial.
Right on. And Rashad, same. You have a different kind of muscle you're using. You're using the power of celebrity. What is the relationship with like a grassroots organization like ours that's organizing, everyday people, and an organization like yours? How should we think about that relationship, and how can we strengthen each other?
Well, first, at CFA, we're telling people to, fund the movement, to make donations, to support organizations protecting free expression and democracy, to support the arts, and to show up for artists, to buy banned books, attend performances, visit museums, to amplify sort of those creative voices that are under attack. In this moment, we cannot comply in advance, and we have to uplift the stories and all the things that they want us to not see. those are the things that we need to elevate in new ways. We need to fight media consolidation and fight in whatever ways we can, whether it's raising our voices to the folks that we elect who have the power to do something about it, whether it's being clear about the campaigns that may come across our computer screens and the ways in which we can engage, and all the ways that we'll be needing to do that in the coming months, in the coming years. Defend the cultural institutions in your community, whether it be the Kennedy Center in DC or the other places that are under attack because of the ways in which federal funding and other funding is under attack right now. And stay involved, and most of all, show up. Show up and be heard. And as Leah said, bring people along with you. During my early days of doing electoral organizing in Black communities, we would always say, arrive with 5. Right. So I say, arrive with 5, show up where you can, bring people along, and that's going to be incredibly important to everything that we do, to showing that we shall not be moved.
Rashad and Leah, I strongly suspect in the next few years, you two will get the unrepeatable experience of holding a chisel and holding a hammer and getting to take it to one of the gold letters of Donald Trump's name on the Kennedy Center. I would be very surprised if you two are not invited to take off one of those letters, and I'm going to personally make the commitment now. If I have anything to say about it, I'm going to be talking to the people who are planning that event to make sure that Rashad and Leah are there to chip those letters off the building. Leah Greenberg, Rashad Robinson, thank you so much for everything you are doing. History will remember you guys fighting to protect the First Amendment. We are incredibly grateful that you joined us today and everything you're doing. And please make sure, folks, go to nokings.org. It's on the scroll on the bottom of the screen. Find your location for Saturday and show up.
Thank you.
Bye, gang.
Thanks, friends. Xander, I got to say, we got cool people in the fight, my friend. There are some cool people working to protect this country and our constitutional rights. And a lot of a lot of creepy, dopey losers trying to take away those rights. So I think just, from the vibes factor, the defiance side of this fight is winning.
We've got the vibes at our back. That's true.
We've got the vibes. They've got Kid Rock, but you know what? I'm willing to take that. To take that head-to-head combat. Well, listen, my friend, let's bring in our other guests here in a second. We have got a group that we've teamed up with this week on behalf of defiance.org members. And this is the start of what I hope will be a continuing partnership, because they are doing extraordinary work and we want to bring them on to hear about it, because this is a group on the ground, on the front lines, working to defend the First Amendment and working to help people exercise the First Amendment in really important ways. So we're going to bring on the team, 2 members of the team from FLAIR, for Liberation and Resistance Everywhere. This is an all volunteer-based organization headquartered in Washington, D.C., fighting to hold government officials accountable for the destruction of our democracy and to promote civic engagement. And they are the perfect organization for us to team with on this week's mission of protecting the First Amendment and getting out there and speaking up. And we have with us, as I said, 2 FLAIR council members. Randy, who is joining us, is a veteran and a DOGed federal employee. Randy, I hope you wear it as a badge of honor, my friend, because I think you'll have the last laugh compared to Doge.
I hope so.
It's great to have you. It's great to have you with us, Randy. And despite saying she'd rather just play piano for musical theater and not think about politics, Anita, who is with us, has been an organizer with FLAIR since it started in May 2025, and hopefully gets to tickle the ivories occasionally amidst all of the fighting against fascism. Randy and Anita, welcome both to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I want to start off by, I'm going to do jump ball here. Either of you, tell us about FLAIR, what you guys started the organization for, and what it's been doing since May of 2025 in the nation's capital for people who aren't familiar.
Yeah. So FLAIR, like you said, we've been formed in May of 2025, kind of to do a 24/7 sit-in protest on the National Mall, and we've been there ever since. Besides a few times being taken down by the feds and being targeted by right-wing influencers. But we've keep popping back up, but we're not going anywhere. And we go up to the Hill at least twice a week, delivering declarations of support for impeachment to representatives. And we advocate for the impeachment, conviction, and removal of Donald Trump and the rest of the administration and the abolishment of ICE. And this week we're also lobbying for no war in Iran.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you all about next. Anita, you've got activations both on Thursday and Friday this week on the Hill. Can you talk to us about what's going on?
Sure, yes. On both days, we are actually inviting people to come with us to go up to the Hill lobby for what Randy was just talking about. And Thursday will be a smaller, more focused group. We're going to go up to the House buildings, office buildings, and then the Senate office buildings and have some fun. And then Thursday, we're going to meet at the Flair site at the Meade Memorial Statue area and then walk up to the office buildings. On Friday, we're going to meet actually at the Capitol. It's a really cool site. You're right up there. And we're going to have a little rally, a couple of speakers, and then walk over again to the offices. Basically, we're trying to be this continual pressure, this continual drip of we want to stop the war, we want to impeach the president, we want to remove the regime. So that's what we're continuing.
And for people that
go ahead.
I was just going to say for people, my first time ever on the Hill was with the Frogs, so I had a unique experience on the Hill. But in general, I'll admit I was kind of nervous going into that. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I would have an impact. I didn't know how I would be received. I didn't even know how I would, what security looked like and what I was allowed to do and whatnot. For people who have never participated in something like this, can you just walk us through what that experience looks like and what effectively doing it looks like?
Oh, absolutely. The first time is intimidating because you go in there and you think, oh my gosh, this is where all the power resides. But it's actually, but once you've talked to your first staffer, then you're chill and you're cool, and then you can just you get used to it, and then you start understanding that these are elected representatives of us, elected, right? We voted for them, so they work for us. They have to listen to us, and so the logistics when you walk in, you do have to go through security. So don't bring anything you wouldn't bring to an airport. And then you go in and you go find your representative. And then most likely you won't find them. You'll talk to a staffer. And they have to listen to you because they do work for you. So you go in there and it's sort of like pick your adventure, right? What is it that you care most about? I care about due process. Everyone who gets arrested must have their day in court, must have the right to talk to counsel. But other people may be concerned about Trump accepting an airplane from Qatar. Maybe people don't want the war. Maybe people are upset because Trump is issuing death threats against members of Congress, right? Basically, pick your own adventure, pick something that speaks to you, and then you can go talk to the staffers in your representatives or senators' offices.
Randy, I want to ask you about your specific experience. I mean, you were a federal employee who got doged, and I presume when you've gone up there to talk to members of Congress, you've talked about some of these extraordinary actions the federal government has taken, these unilateral actions that Donald Trump has taken to basically go delete federal agencies without consulting Congress. And I suspect a lot of people want to go up there to talk about federal overreach and their fears of federal overreach. Why is it so important for them to go express that in person? And how have you seen that have an impact so far?
Yeah, so it's extremely important. I think the face-to-face time with even just the staffers really makes a huge difference. When we go, my representative is Jamie Raskin, and we went to his, local in-district office in Rockville to meet with his staff, and it took us 6 people to get in there. So we lined up at the door, knocked, and we had to have a critical mass of 6 people to be able to get in there and effectively and talk to them and express our concerns, and we were able sit down, have these meetings. That was the first time. And now we actually are able to set up meetings. So on the 30th, this coming Monday, we have a meeting with his staff to go in there and talk about, this momentum that everyone is taking from No Kings and this community and this camaraderie of, all these mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters out there gathering and communing, and then taking that energy and going into your representative's office and advocating for yourself and for impeachment and conviction and removal. So
right on. Well, hey, something else is going on the 30th. Defiance members are from all over the country, and I love what you all have planned for the 30th. In many ways, Leah, what Leah's doing at Indivisible and what you guys are trying to accomplish on the 30th, at least rhyme, right? They're like gateway drugs to civic engagement in so many ways. And, with Leah, it's joining a march, bringing friends. Can you talk us through the action that you have for Defiance members on the 30th?
Yes. Actually, it was so amazing to hear both Leah and Rashad. Yeah. Because these actually are very complementary actions. Right. So first of all, everybody go to No Kings and get excited, right? Get hyped up, get with your people. And then Monday, go to your representative's office, right? All those people who went to the march, go to your representative's office. Now, the thing is, nobody goes to their representatives and senators' offices locally. And we know this at Flair because we go there and nobody's ever there. So go and ask for impeachment with, again, your favorite reason, right? And so if Defiance members would like to do that, it's actually, so whenever I've gone to my representatives' offices, one time I had an appointment, but the other times I have not. One time I did tell them I was coming through their website, but another time I didn't even. So I just showed up, and yeah, they have a staff meeting, they have whatever. But the point is, nobody was there, right? The door is locked. There's 2 staffers inside. So I just waited out there until they let me in. And then there were 3 of us, and then you just go in and talk. So it takes an hour. It takes an hour out of your day. There are 435 House members. There are 100 senators. So the 535 members of Congress have about collectively 2,000 district offices. If we can get 2 people per office per day, starting on Monday. Okay, so Monday, go and get used to it. So you get what the vibe is like and how to do it. And then after that, if we can just get 10 people per week to go to each office, we can cover the country with 20,000 people. Now, No Kings will get way more than that. If we just get a little fraction of that to go to the office where they cannot ignore you, we can really move the needle. They will hear you. You'll be right there, right? They cannot ignore you in the same way that they can ignore an email. And so really piggyback off of No Kings, take that energy, and then Monday, go to your representative's office. And then once you get used to that, go to your senator's offices. But just go.
Yeah. And all of the resources that we have available on our website, we want, if anything comes out of this, what we really want is for people to realize that this is easy. Like, you need an hour out of your month to advocate for yourself. And once you break that initial, thing, then it's easier and easier and easier, and you're able to go in there and you see these people that are in front of these staffers that are able to express themselves really well. That comes with practice.
Yeah, well, it's not only just like if the action.
Yeah, I'm still a bumbling idiot, but
but it's also
Xander calls himself the Forrest Gump of the movement, which I love. I think that's very funny. But one of the things I was going to say is that as a recovering congressional staffer, this works. This has an impact. And especially, Anita, I'm so glad that you're focused on getting people to what's called the district offices. This is a very important thing to do. Hopefully you can go there Monday. If you can't, though, it's worth, while you're spending the time to listen to us, looking up and saying, yeah, where is my congressman's district office? Where is that? So you have a sense. That's the first step. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's 7 minutes from my house. That's not too hard to go to. I am telling you, showing up at your congressman's district office, either to have a conversation with a staffer, or if you're a shy person, write a letter and go hand deliver it and say, I want you to see this. I'm going to tell you why that's important. They know an issue is bubbling up to total popular attention when people are frustrated enough that they are showing up in person. Think about the Epstein files. Last year, when members of Congress went home in August for the August recess, the fact that people were showing up at their district offices when they got back and demanding to know things about the Epstein files, that's when members of Congress knew, shit, we're not going to be able to get out of this by just punting like the president wants to. We're going to have to do something. And it's because people were showing up. It does have an impact. So write that letter, prepare those points, look up that office. That's the first step. I'm not forcing you to go there, but you can just grab your phone right now and go onto Google and find out where that is. Because once you know how easy it is and how close it is, it's going to make it so much easier to write something up in your own voice and take it over there to those folks. So I just wanted to foot stomp that, Anita and Randy. You're both right on that point. Sorry, Xander, you were just starting to speak and I spoke over you.
It's been a while since then. You know, my brain moves quickly, so I'm not sure where I'm heading. Oh, you know what? I remember it. I grabbed it again. So,
It's been a while since your monologue started, Miles.
It's been sorry, I'll pull my shit together. I was gonna say, not only is this so important to build kind of the get rid of the fear around doing these things and build a muscle around it personally. If you start doing a sequence of these things, like on Saturday, I was at my local Indivisible chapter. I plan on doing this Monday. I'm at No Kings this Saturday. You start building a real identity around being a civic being, a citizen in this country, on top of the family man or woman or the professional. It's it's a third layer of identity that starts being formed. And once you have that, and you have the community, and you have the text threads going, and you're thinking about things, and you have the friendships, that's really how a high functioning democracy works, is these little bands of friendships and groups that keep it going and keep the conversation rolling and make sure we keep jumping into action. And so I would say not only is kind of the individual act that you guys are promoting so important, and the daily activities you're doing are so important for those activities' sake, the building of a civic identity is so critical and has been missing in most Americans' lives for some time now, probably since the 60s and early 70s. And you all have been an important part of building that back. So I just want to make sure I called out that important role you're playing in the movement.
Well, Anita and Randy, let's put the graphic back up if we can. And can you guys make sure to tell our folks, especially if they're in the DC, Maryland, or Virginia area, are willing to come in, about these 3 different activations?
Yeah. So on tomorrow, on the 26th, we're going to be going into the, like Anita said, the House and then the Senate buildings to lobby for a war powers resolution, or for the Senate to act, or the Congress to act and try and stop Trump from, unilaterally waging war against, now Iran and, Venezuela before. So we're gonna demand some action. We can probably expect some good trouble if we don't get the response that we want. Nice little sit-in. Then on Friday we're gonna have a rally again with speakers, and we're gonna go flood the halls again. And then on the 30th is when people can visit their local in-district office to lobby for impeachment there. And one of the things that we really want to get through to people is when their representative says, we don't have the votes, we don't have the support, I can't do that, they can. Because there's Rule 9 is a special privilege that any Congress member has, that they can force a vote on impeachment. And there's a reason that they do that, is because it's such a vital part of our Constitution that anybody can raise it. So when your congressman says it won't go through, they can force a vote. They can call a vote on the House floor every single day if they wanted to. They can put a halt to all business in Congress until he's impeached by invoking Rule 9 every single day.
Wow.
So these are the
Wow,
things.
I feel like we're not far from that,
want-
Randy. I feel like they're going to need to be invoking Rule 9 constantly. And hopefully this pressure will get them there that you guys are putting forward. I just want to urge folks, if they are watching right now, we're going to send this out to defiance.org members so that they have it. But whether you are in the DC area or not, you have something to do. The 26th and the 27th, tomorrow and Friday, if you're in the area, you can go to these 2 activations on Capitol Hill. And Monday, wherever you are in the United States of America, you are within driving distance of your member of Congress's district office. I'm sure of it. For some people way out in the boonies, it might be a little bit of a hike, but get there, show up. And I'm telling you, even if it's just to drop off a letter, I am going to do it Monday. I am going to go by my member of Congress's district office. I'm going to either have a conversation with them and leave them a note, and you should too. Make that a part of your plan for Monday if you can, even if it's after work and they're already closed and you're just going to drop this off. Let them know how you feel about what's happening in this country. Randy and Anita, we are so glad to partner with you all on this and to help you all. And I hope, and I said this to y'all in private, I hope that anytime you're doing something, if you need more people, if you need resources, Defiance.org members are so excited to help. You guys are our special forces team on the ground near the U.S. Capitol 24/7 and ready to get there and do the hard work of the citizenry, as Xander noted earlier. So thank you so much for everything that you guys do.
Thank you so much for having us.
Could I just say really quickly, thank you so much at Defiance. Flair has been really, really stoked to make your acquaintance, get to know you. But I also want to shout out to our partners who have been working with us for these days of action, 5051 DC and Citizens Impeachment. It's like Leah said, none of us does this alone. Right? We all have to work together, and our superpower is trust. We trust in each other and we get it done.
Hell yeah. You guys have a lot more superpowers than that, but we'll start with that one. But you guys have got a lot of superpowers, and we're going to see some of those this week. Randy, Anita from Flair USA, thank you so much for everything you do. We're going to drive people your direction, and I suspect we'll be seeing you again here on the program soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Gang.
Xander, I love what they're doing. They are fantastic. And, what a just courageous group of people. Their whole 24/7 location, I think is amazing. When there's so many elected leaders who aren't meeting the moment because they're, they'll go make a speech on the House floor and say things are bad. And then they'll just act like it's going to disappear. They're acting like they need to in this moment. Like, no, this isn't once a week we say something. It's an emergency. We're there 24/7.
Yeah, that is something I've kind of noticed Americans getting better at. Is I think we were kind of used to doing symbolic protests and symbolic actions, and we are building a muscle around. No, we go home when the thing gets done. When you solve our problem, we stop being disruptive. When you solve our problem, if they start doing the impeachable offense thing every day over there, might have to send them my alert. I think that gets it done. Flair plus this thing gets it done.
Yeah, that probably saves democracy. Flair plus one prop, and that's all we need. We just had never put those two things together.
That's why we host these meetings, so we can figure these things out.
That's right. I will say to our Defiance.org members, this is a week of a lot of different actions. And I'll tell you, one of the things that you supported this week is this is a little bit of a different timeline than we usually do. We usually announce something and then we go do it in the days to come. Because the Flair team is actively rocking forward with all of this, we have already provided some support to them to make sure we get the word out there, putting paid ads out there on your behalf so that people are seeing this on their computers and social media, that there are these opportunities to go to member of Congress's offices and including around the country. We're going to continue to do that this week. We're going to try to push thousands of dollars in the direction of promoting these events on your behalf to help the Flair team get as many people as possible to show up. So let me just say right now, thank you to Defiance.org members. You have funded the ability this week for us to elevate these crucial engagements with elected leaders in the nation's capital and around the country. You are helping to make that possible, and we're really, really proud of the Flair team for doing the heavy lifting there on the ground.
Right on. That's a good segue to the actions. We want to get into our actions for the
Let's
week
go to the actions. weekly mission brief.
Put up that graphic. I got this one thing too today. I'm starting to be the prop guy. That's not the actions this week, Mercedes. It's all right. We'll do it one week.
We can do the old ones.
Right,
like I said, there's a lot of actions. Okay, Xander, walk us through them. What are the actions of the week?
To help, I numbered them. One was bring a friend to No Kings 3, but after Leah said 3 and then Rashad said 5, I'm not sure. Should we say
split the
7?
difference? Bring 4 friends. You're thinking go bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, bring 3 to 5 people.
Yeah, 3 to 5 friends to No Kings 3. Use it as a moment of activation. Then we have defiance.org/No Kings, where you can get your Defiance, either your Defiance sign. We have signs you can print out, or just a QR code you can put on your homemade sign that takes people to defiance.org so people can join this movement and have something to do daily and weekly. Like Leah said, it's not just about going to the march, but having things to do. Defiance.org was created to help people know what to do. So
let me pause on that one. Let me pause on that one for a second, Xander, for folks. And maybe we can add this to the crawl on the screen. We're putting all the burden on Mercedes today.
So much crawl.
If you go to defiance.org/No Kings, we've had a lot of folks in our community ask us to make it really, really easy to take signs to the protests around the country. We've given you a couple of options. You can either download one of the signs that basically just says, start here to fight fascism. There we go. And let's go down to those signs. Number 1, download a sign to take to the protest. You can go to defiance.org/No Kings, and there's a lot of different options. You can download the QR code. Let me explain that to people for a second. If you want to make your own sign, then we've given you a QR code that you can just stick on that sign. Why does that matter? Because it allows anyone at the protest to take their phone and scan the QR code and come join the Defiance community to fund actions to counter Trump's abuses of power. So make your own sign, use that QR code. Awesome. Or you can pick one of the pre-made signs we have here. There's a white Defiance poster. There's a black Defiance poster that you can just take and print out at home or send to a FedEx or a home office store or a printing location to have printed out. I will tell you what I did today, because when you don't have a printer at home, sometimes this is a little bit frustrating. But I went onto FedEx's website. I went and I chose a fancy one. I went to banners and posters and corrugated plastic. So I ordered, it's about this big. I think I ordered the 48-inch by 36-inch poster. It's going to be like this big. That is going to say, it's the one Mercedes just put up there, that says, if you want an answer to the question, what can I do to fight fascism? Start here. And then people in the crowd can scan the QR code and join the Defiance with the rest of us. So I'll take pictures of that day. Yeah, it's that sign. I printed out a gigantic one. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to carry it. It might be too big, but I'm going to go get a little piece of wood and glue it on there and carry that thing around in the protest. So you can go do that same thing. I would suggest, if you're going to print a sign for the protests, go do that tonight if you can, before bed. Get that in, and I'll tell you why. Because around the country, FedExes and print stores are being flooded. I talked to the FedEx people today. They're getting so many requests to print posters that they're pushing a lot of the delivery dates out to Friday, end of day, or in some cases, the start of the day, Saturday. So get that request in to print out a poster there at your local print shop to get ready for No Kings Day. That is fantastic. Thank you for everyone who sent us great ideas. Xander, sorry, we can go back to the actions, but I just wanted to make sure people knew.
I'm happy you broke it down.
I'm no genius. I was like, wait, how am I going to get this poster printed? FedEx, whatever other site you want. We've given you the graphic. You can go to defiance.org/No Kings. You can download it. We've made it very, very easy.
Also, a good sign that we're winning this fight. If FedEx has a 3-day wait period to print out a piece of paper, that's a good sign that we're winning the fight.
That's a good sign. They're like, we got a lot of signs that are being printed out. So hopefully Defiance will be sponsored by FedEx by next year.
Yeah. I don't know. This might be good for business, all this chaos for these guys. Fighting back against the CNN merger, you just heard from Rashad. The fight is at the Attorney General level. We're going to be providing instructions on exactly how to support the Committee for the First Amendment in their fight against these mergers to Trump allies that are consolidating our news industry, whether it's, as Rashad mentioned, new media like Twitter, formerly Twitter, now X, and TikTok, or legacy media like CNN and CBS before it. So we're going to provide instructions on how to fight back, how to support CFA in doing that. As we heard from Flair, they've got activations tomorrow and the next day. So if you're in DC or within a drive of DC, please join Flair's effort, their anti-war lobbying that they're going to be doing the next couple days here. And then as they mentioned, and we're going to provide instructions for this as well, lobby your local government on 330, or your local representative, I should say. Go to their office, let them see your presence. Miles broke it down beautifully why this matters. So participate on Monday. I'm going to be doing it for the first time. It's incredible. A lot of these things, you'd expect maybe guys like me that have been in politics for 10 years to have done a lot of this. I'm out of practice and haven't done a lot of these local civic engagement actions. So I'm excited to do it for the first time. Please join me. If you've never done it, do it for the first time alongside me. And that's our actions for the week, other than one of our favorite things, which is the badge of the week. Mercedes, you got our badge of the week?
Oh, it's badge time. Yeah, let's keep that up for a second here. I'm going to also make this really easy for you. If you are a defiance.org member or plan on joining us, this is your badge of the week. Wear it proudly and wear it on social media. So what we do every week, especially if you're a first-time defiance.org member joining us for a Wednesday weekly mission brief, we go post this. We go post this across our accounts. In fact, I'm sitting here right now. I'm pulling up my phone.
Do it alongside of us. We're doing it right now.
We've
heard this is good TV.
Yeah. People, we love a posting of a badge. I am going and I'm just going to take a picture of the screen just to make it easy.
I got it up on my Substack too. I just posted it up.
Do you? Yeah. I am going to just take a picture of it on the screen. I'm going to slowly narrate it because, like you said, Xander, like that's good TV. And do the same thing with me. Do the same thing with me. Xander, you posted yours on Substack. I'm going to repost yours.
Mine's up there. There you go. Give me a restack. I need to get my following count up.
I'm going to do a restack.
Help me out, Miles Taylor. My much more famous.
There it is. Yeah, I'm going to heart Xander's and restack it. So if you want the easy button right now, if you're like, I don't want to upload a photo, that, you got no excuse. Now you can just go to my account on Substack and you can see that I just restacked Xander's badge. I helped Americans speak truth to power. Go follow Xander. Go repost that. Post this on your other social media accounts. We will do the same from the Defiance accounts, and we will. I don't know, Mercedes, if those are up anywhere. Oh yeah, I got a thumbs up. So you can go to the Defiance accounts on places like Blue Sky and Threads, maybe Instagram. And you can repost the badge there. I'm going to do that too while we're sitting here.
And while you're doing that, Miles, I'll say there's the action, the evergreen action that sometimes we don't call out enough, which is help us grow defiance.org. If you're a member, thank you. Get a friend to join. You can do it for as low as $1 a month. If you want to give 5, great. If you want to give 10, fantastic. If they want to join for more, great. We use it to re-grant to important organizations like the ones you met today. If you're not a member yet, get in here. Get in here. We're doing activities every day to support the pro-democracy movement, to fight back against fascism. We have big events once a week, like the one you're listening to today. And we are building a mass movement that is able to move at the speed in which the kind of legacy resistance has not been able to move at, right? Responding to Trump's muzzle velocity with the muzzle velocity of our own that is sometimes out in front of their activities. Just like we saw in Social Circle, Georgia. They tried to build a detention center. Our allies figured out the leverage the local government had, shut down the water. That detention center is paused. It is not being built now. Those detention beds are not up because we are moving at a speed to fight back against Trump's lawlessness. And we're going to do the same over and over and over again across a number of issues. So if you're not a part of this organization already, please join. And if you want to text a couple friends, go to Defiance.org, be a part of this. Trust me, send them this episode, send them yesterday's episode, allow them to see kind of the vibe and the energy we're trying to bring to this. I talked to a political scientist today, said one of the most important things is that, leadership expresses confidence and not fear. This place is all about what can we do. We focus on what is possible, how we're going to win. We talk about how we're winning, and we try to ensure that this dread that the rest of the media is covering us in doesn't leak into this corner of the internet. This is a positive space where we go and we just get shit done day after day, week after week. So please help us grow this movement.
Absolutely right. And every penny of every single new member that joins us, it's going to the actions. If you're new to Defiance, sorry to break it to you, but you're not going to get a whole lot of new faces sitting here on the screen because we're not trying to grow. Yeah, this is who you're stuck with. We're not trying to grow the org. We're not trying to increase our paychecks. We're not trying to add more people. This is about it. This is the group. But that's because we are funding these really important efforts. It's groups like Flare that we need to support. It's groups like Indivisible, whose activations we are helping to grow. And some of the amazing announcements that we've got in the queue for this coming month across a lot of different vectors, helping to stop the war with Iran, mobilizing people to protect First Amendment speech. I'm trying to think of some of the others that I can tease, Xander, that we're going to be announcing, but we've got some great announcements coming up over the next few weeks. And if you're new to us, you will get to join your first monthly member briefing next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So once a month, we do a member meeting, closed meeting on Zoom. We all get together face-to-face, the hardcore members, and we talk about what is Donald Trump doing? What abuses of power are we most worried about? And what, as an organization, what, as a club, do we want to go fund to combat? What do we want to go, what do we want to go do out there in the real world to stop those abuses of power? And these things have an impact. I mean, I take you back to last fall. I always talk about the whistles. I thought it was silly for us to be sending whistles to people around the country. Turns out the whistles became a crucial element for communities to protect themselves against ICE arriving. We sent thousands of them around the country. It's things like that that we go support and we scale to make a difference. I was delighted, by the way, Xander, to see another one of our activations that Defiance.org members created, the Fight Against Federal Overreach. People can check that out at federaloverreach.org. We have had FAFO prosecutors around the country who we've been organizing, taking real action. Mary Moriarty in Minneapolis, who's one of the founding prosecutors of the group that we started, FAFO, just brought suit against federal authorities to be able to get evidence to prosecute the killers of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Mary Moriarty's office has also brought actions against multiple ICE and DHS agents who exceeded their authority. And other prosecutors in FAFO around the country are learning from what they're doing in Minneapolis to make sure we hold law-breaking federal agents accountable. Guess what, folks? You are making that possible. This FAFO wasn't something that was cooked up on, Mount Olympus and brought down to us. It was cooked up because we had one of those top prosecutors on this program. Xander asked the question, what does there need to be in this space? There needs to be an organization to get the prosecutors around the country talking to each other so we can hold these people accountable. That happened because of you. So thank you, Defiance.org members, for your courage. We've got many more things like that coming. We have another announcement, I think, week after next along those lines that's going to have a big national splash and a real world impact to protect innocent human lives. So, so proud of the work that you've done, Defiance.org members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Xander, what have I left out? We have a lot of actions. We're going to get folks first thing tomorrow morning. They'll get their email summarizing those actions. We will push that out. And in the meantime, I guess the one thing I would leave people with is make sure to get your posters ready for No Kings tonight. That's the one. We give you a lot of things, but if there's one thing that's time sensitive, just because the printers are backed up, your No Kings protest is Saturday. You got to be there. Bring 3 to 5 people with you and go to defiance.org/No Kings and download one of the posters or download the QR code, make your own poster. We're very excited to join you out there in the streets.
Yeah, I think you hit it all, Miles. I don't know. I'm afraid to preview some of the really cool stuff we have going. You're the national security guy who's able to keep secrets. I spill all the beans. So it's really cool, though. We're going to keep beating the brakes off of these fascists. That's the high level summary. And we are, as you saw today, Rashad and Leah, 2 of the most impressive people in the pro-democracy space. We're really strengthening our alliances in our community, and it's allowing Defiance to do more faster. and build stronger coalitions quickly. And so we've got our snowball is rolling downhill. That's all I can express. Our snowball is rolling downhill. We're becoming more powerful. We're able to bring things to life faster. And that means we're going to be able to react to this Trump administration and stop them in their tracks wherever they go.
Amen. Well, thank you, everyone here and around the country who joined us for this week's weekly mission brief. First Amendment in action. That is the theme this week. We're going to see you on Saturday. You will see us ad hoc live streaming from No King's Day protests, talking to people at the protests, being a part of it ourselves, carrying around signs. We so hope to have you out there on Saturday. And you'll see in the email that we send out or on that website that's going across the scroll, send us your pictures. Take pictures this weekend. We're going to feature them on this program. Send us your funny pictures, send us your happy pictures, send us the best signs that you see. We want a bunch of them because next week, when we're back on the regular daily, we want to show folks what the defiance.org members did out there. So send us your way. Some people have already sent them. I'm seeing those emails pop up. I'm not even sure. Saturday hasn't happened yet. And we've been getting emails of things that people are doing. I think it's people's posters that they made for Saturday. So, but Beautiful. Look, friends, we will be back with you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time for another Defiance Daily. In the meantime, stay loud, stay brave, and stay together. We'll see you tomorrow.